As you know, all across the world, prices have been skyrocketing. And it's all thanks to the pandemic, supply chain issues, and a Russian man who clearly wasn't hugged enough as a child. And because of that, everything costs more. Groceries, gas, blackmail. It's terrible, everything. And every government around the world is trying to figure out how to bring inflation down, which is why now the Federal Reserve is stepping in with a major move that America hasn't seen in decades.
On Wednesday, the Federal Reserve raised the interest rate by 0.5 percentage point, the biggest hike in 22 years. The increase makes borrowing money more expensive, from new mortgages to auto loans to credit card rates. It's designed to cool down consumer demand and curb inflation, now at a 40-year high.
And Fed Chairman Jerome Powell saying the aggressive move, they're saying it can be done without risking a recession.
So there's a path to that. Now, I would say I think we have a good chance to have a soft or soft-ish landing or outcome, if you will.
Okay, I felt confident in him until he said a soft-ish landing. Soft, I like soft-ish. Anytime you have to add ish to something, I don't feel reassured anymore. Yeah, this roller coaster is safe-ish. These clams are fresh-ish. Yeah, baby, we're monogamish. You know how this is going to end. But basically, here's how it all works, right? The Fed raises interest rates, which means the cost of borrowing money goes up, which means that people and businesses will spend less money, which then makes prices start to come down. And it works because higher interest rates affect so many things in your life. It makes a mortgage more expensive, it makes car loans more expensive, it makes paying off your credit card more expensive, it even makes buying Twitter more expensive. That's why Elon has to go halvesies with Saudi Arabia now. The trick, as Jerome Powell was alluding to, is that you have to bring spending down, but not too much, too fast. Yeah, you got to do it just right, or the economy could crash and you end up in a recession. So it's a delicate balance. You know, think of it. You know what? Think of the economy like a house party. All right? Yeah, you want it to be banging. You know what I mean? You want it to be banging, but you don't want it to get out of control because then no one can get a drink. Everyone's punching, fighting over what's left. It's chaos, basically. It's chaos. So raising the interest rates is like trying to calm the party down. Right? But if you're too extreme and you call the cops, or if you just like turn on the lights and now everyone sees who they were dancing with, now the party ends. The whole thing shuts down. That's a recession of a party. So what the Federal Reserve is trying to do is change the playlist just enough so people stay, but that also makes sure that nobody's dancing on the table. Does that make sense? You understand what we're doing here? Yeah. So it's tricky. It is tricky. But they have to try, because if they don't do something, a dollar will get you less and less every day, which is gonna suck for everyone, especially for the dollar. Man, this sucks. Back in the day, people used to use me for everything. You could buy a horse with me, you could buy a windmill. Hell, they bought Alaska with me and they got change. But look at me now. Thanks to inflation, I'm just a glorified bookmark covered in fecal matter. People don't even want to snort cocaine with me anymore. Now they only talk about Benjamin. That loser wasn't even president. The only things I have left in my life now are dollar stores and strip clubs. And I swear to God, if strippers start taking Bitcoin, I'm going to kill myself. Dollar is very angry. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to a politician who will presumably never be on money, Madison Cawthorn. North Carolina congressman and villain on every CW show. 5 weeks ago, Madison Cawthorn claimed that his Republican colleagues were doing cocaine and having giant orgies, which he was deeply disgusted by. Yeah, because you see, he's a true Christian who stands for traditional conservative values. Yeah, and so that's what he said about his colleagues, and clearly he pissed somebody off, because since he made that accusation, week after week, people have been leaking things that seem to be exposing him as a fraud. Yeah, the scandals have included everything from pictures in lingerie to allegations of insider trading and a campaign aide with their hand on his crotch. And now, in the words of the esteemed political analyst DJ Khaled, another one.
This is a completely shocking video appearing to show the congressman completely naked in this video.
It purportedly shows him acting crass, I guess you could say, with a friend in a bedroom.
while not wearing any clothing at all.
Now, notably, this is put out by an opposition group. This is a group that's working actively to try to defeat the congressman in the upcoming Republican primary. But the congressman, he admitted that it is indeed him in the video.
Yeah. Someone released a video of Madison Cawthorn from a few years ago, before he was in Congress, naked, basically pretending to hump his friend's face. And believe me, I wish there was another way to say that, but there is not. That's the story. And you gotta admit, man, these people are coming for Madison Cawthorn. You know, in fact, the way they're coming for Madison Cawthorn, I'm starting to think maybe those cocaine orgies were real, you know? He said too much. So for the 50th time, Congressman Madison Cawthorn was forced to release a statement explaining why this isn't as bad as it seems.
You are witnessing one of the first examples of a politician who grew up with a cell phone in their hand, with the ability to take photos, videos, and have others use that content as a way to hurt you. Most of my colleagues in Congress right now would not be serving in Washington if they grew up within a single mile of a cell phone growing up.
Okay, before we address the statement, can anyone explain to me why the American flag is in that video? That flag wasn't humping anybody. Why are you dragging the flag into this bullshit, Madison, huh? You can even see the flag behind him like, I wasn't there. Now, as for the point the young congressman was making, as much as I do not like him, I have to agree. Since the beginning of time, people have had the ability to insulate what they do in private from what they do in public. But now, we have a whole generation who's growing up documenting every single dumb thing they do or say or hump. And honestly, unless they're breaking the law, we're gonna have to figure out how to deal with this in society, right? Because thanks to phones, everyone's friends have dirt on them. Yeah, honestly, everyone. In fact, if your friends don't have any dirt on you that could someday ruin your career, then I'm sorry, you're not friends, you're just acquaintances, okay? Understand that now. And so I agree. I honestly agree. You know, this is just part of the product of the times. Yeah, what he was doing was extreme, but this is part of the times. Like, if previous generations of politicians had the same technology as we do now, we might have seen really embarrassing selfies of Abe Lincoln, you know? Yeah, and can you imagine young Mitch McConnell with an iPhone? I mean, even if there was nothing scandalous, we'd still have to see him trying to look cool every single day on TikTok. See him there trying to... Yeah, he's looked like that since he was 14. That's just his face. That would have gone viral, by the way. All right, let's move on to a story about space. Jeff Bezos' vacation home. For decades, humans have been trying to not only find other planets for us to destroy, but also intelligent life for us to colonize. And we've tried everything. You know, we've sent out deep space probes, we sent out radio waves. In the 50s, we sent like a bunch of dogs and monkeys for some reason. But now, after decades of no luck, NASA has decided to take things up a notch.
NASA scientists plan to send pictures of naked humans into space, hoping to catch the attention of aliens. Nudes will come with an invitation to respond. Pictures aren't graphic, just a drawing of a naked man and a woman next to a picture of DNA. NASA revealed this as part of a project called Beacon in the Galaxy to send a message to any alien civilizations.
Okay. First things first, they've got to hire more women over at NASA because only dudes would think the best way to introduce yourself is with unsolicited nudes. Hey, aliens, you up there? What are we doing? Those aliens are going to be really upset that they turned on their airdrop for everyone in the galaxy. But also, if you are going to send nudes, why would you send these nudes? Let me tell you something, man. If I was an alien, no way in hell I'm coming to this planet. Like, if someone sent me these nudes and they said, hey, you up? I'd be like, I am so far from up. I'm in a coma. I will never be up again. I mean, look at this thing. Feels like you sexting with an Atari. What is that, huh? The woman doesn't even have a nose. Look at that shit. Think about what we're saying. Either this planet has zero technology, because this is how they draw themselves, or this is how they actually look. Either way, I'm not coming. I'm not coming. That's a terrible thing to say. Like, maybe if I was like a 13-year-old alien, I could make that work. Yeah, you know what I mean? But how are these the nudes that we're sending to aliens? If we want aliens to get interested, don't send them an Etch-a-Sketch drawing. Send them coupons for OnlyFans. Come on, man. Get them in the game. And you know, honestly, even if the aliens are interested, I think we've got to be careful. This is sending the wrong idea about us into the galaxy. Just imagine for a second, the very first thing we send to aliens is naked photos? What, are we only trying to make contact with the horniest aliens in the universe? Yeah, no wonder every time they abduct someone, they probe their butts. We're sending out the wrong vibe. You understand how scary this is? You know what's going to happen here, right? The aliens are going to get here, and they're just going to expect to smash immediately. Yeah. And then they're going to be disappointed. Yeah, imagine if someone you've never even met before texted you nudes, and then you go there, and they're like, cool, now that you're here, I wanted to introduce you to Joe Biden. That is the worst catfishing ever. They'll blow up our planet just for that. Come you all horny, and they'll be like, take us to your leader. We're here to smash. Now we're in trouble. Yeah, the only way that would work out is if the aliens come and Trump is president. Yeah. No, because if there's one thing I'll tell you about Trump, he'd shit out of those aliens. He'd be like, I don't know what they have down there, but I'm grabbing it. I'm grabbing it. Come here, aliens. We should actually hope. We actually should hope that this only reaches the horny aliens. Because you realize how offensive this is going to be if it just ends up in front of a normal alien. They are going to be so pissed off. Sheila! Sheila! Those Earth perverts left pornography on the lawn! Yes, I'm sure it's not my pornography! You know I wouldn't be yanking my floor flex to a drawing of two hairless monkeys. Yeah, I mean, one doesn't even have a nose, Sheila. Come on, you know what I'm into, and it's not this crap. Plus, I don't need pornography. I only need you. You know I love you, baby. I love you, Sheila. I love that couple. All right, that's it for the headlines. But before we go to a break, let's check in on the stock market with our very own finance expert, Michael Costa, everybody. Michael?
Yeah, I mean,
do tell, what is happening in the market today, man?
well, I'm an expert at this, you know, and I am crushing the market. I mean,
So you say?
Absolutely crushing it. And as an expert, I do have a hot tip for you.
Can't wait.
And I got a hot tip for you as well. So we'll get into that. But before we do, the Fed raising the interest rates.
Yes.
This is a great thing. Okay, because during the pandemic, we lost interest, right? Like, I lost interest personally. I lost interest in Netflix. I lost interest in my family. I lost interest in work, to be honest with you. I wasn't trying that hard before, but now I am really phoning it in. Okay, so, but look, raising the interest rates, it affects everyone, and especially regular middle-class homeowners like myself, okay? Now, I have a ski castle in Courchevel. It's the French Alps, 12,000 square feet. It's on a nice, pristine glacial lake. And if I hadn't locked in my rate before this, I wouldn't be able to redo the kitchen on the main property. So it's Tuscan marble, Trevor, okay? So, but one thing I've learned is whenever you complain about renovating the kitchen in your fifth home, nobody has any sympathy. But can you imagine a 16th century ski castle with a bad kitchen? I love to cook. Let's get.
Yeah, you're the true victim
but
here.
the NASA sending the nudes.
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll get to this in a second. But that's a risky move, okay? Because NASA doesn't know who's going to get those nudes. I mean, what if it's alien children? Right? Now Earth is exposing itself to children, Do you think about that? Next thing you know, Earth is on the intergalactic sex offender list, And we got to go around from galaxy to galaxy knocking on the atmosphere saying, hello, I'm Earth, I'm your neighbor for 3 billion years, I'm legally required to tell you I'm a sex offender. Can I get to the market?
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah,
okay,
thank you.
cool. So, look, yesterday on the news that the interest rates were going up, the market shot up.
Yeah.
Okay? Today on the news that the interest rates were going up, the market shot down. All right? So, I'm an expert here, don't forget. In summary, when the news of the interest rates are going up, the market will either go up or it's going to go down. Thank you.
Well, hold on, Mike. Yeah, but Michael, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, well, that's because you're not an expert like me, and that's my hot tip, okay? Leave it to the experts.
Thank you. I think, Michael Cawthorn.